You wake up one morning and something feels different. Not pain, not illness, just a quiet fading you can't quite explain. The firmness you once trusted takes longer, sensitivity feels muted, and in those private moments, you wonder if time has quietly stolen a part of you. For so many men over 60, this becomes a silent burden, carried with embarrassment or ignored. But what if I told you the truth was far more hopeful than you imagine? What if the answer wasn't in another pill, another procedure, or another empty promise, but in a simple, ancient oil that men across the world are rediscovering today? I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but it's real. Thousands of men your age are already using it to restore sensation and confidence without side effects or shame. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, a urologist with over 3 decades of listening to men just like you, and I want you to hear this. Your body has not forgotten how to respond. It's waiting for the right signal, the right nourishment, the right care, and today, I'm going to show you exactly how one daily ritual with 4 simple oils can begin reversing 20 years of decline in as little as 7 days. Here's the strange truth most men never hear. Your skin, especially in the most sensitive areas, absorbs healing compounds dozens of times more effectively than swallowing a capsule. While others chase prescriptions, the real solution has been hiding in plain sight. By the end of this story, you'll know the precise recipe, the method of use, and what to expect within the first week. And I promise, the results will surprise you. Because when blood flow returns, when nerves awaken, when tissues soften and heal, it doesn't just change your body, it changes how you see yourself as a man. So let's begin with the first oil, rosemary. Most people think of it as a kitchen herb, a garnish on roasted potatoes. But when used on your body the right way, rosemary becomes a circulation powerhouse. Years ago, when I first suggested rosemary oil to my older patients, they looked at me with raised eyebrows. You mean the stuff I cook with? But a week later, they returned with stories whispered almost in disbelief. Doctor, I feel warmer down there. I feel alive again. That shift always started with rosemary. Why? Because rosemary oil is one of nature's most powerful vasodilators. Inside it are compounds like rosmarinic acid and camphor, which gently relax the smooth muscles lining your blood vessels. Think of arteries stiffened with age, suddenly remembering how to open. When applied topically, rosemary doesn't just improve flow in the large vessels, it reawakens the tiniest capillaries, the ones that feed sensitivity. That tingling isn't a side effect, it's your body remembering how to respond, like a light switch turning back on. And because rosemary works by restoring, not forcing, it does so gently, without pills, without pressure. But rosemary only opens the door. To truly fill those vessels with warm, nourishing blood, another oil must step in. That's where ginger comes in. Ginger isn't just the spice that gives warmth to tea or food. On the skin, ginger oil acts like a magnet, pulling blood into the area that's been neglected for years. I remember one man, George, 68, who struggled with a dull numbness. I gave him a properly diluted blend with ginger. Within minutes, he looked at me wide-eyed and said, "Doctor, something woke up." That moment has stayed with me. Ginger contains compounds like gingerol and zingiberine, which signal your body to bring blood right where it's needed. The warmth you feel isn't irritation, it's healing. It's nutrient-rich blood rushing in, feeding nerves, soft tissues, capillaries that have been quiet too long. For many men, it's the first time in decades they feel sensation returning. Even better, ginger and rosemary work in harmony. One opens the path, the other fills it. Together, they create a foundation for renewal that feels natural, steady, and real. But of course, performance isn't just about circulation. Sometimes the body is ready, but the mind is locked in tension, carrying stress that shuts everything down. That's why the third oil, lavender, is so essential. Lavender isn't just about fragrance, it calms the nervous system, the same system that, when stressed, pulls blood away from where you want it most. Inside lavender are compounds like linalool that send a signal: you are safe, it's okay to let go. For many men, this is the turning point. When the body finally allows itself to respond instead of bracing for disappointment. Lavender restores not by forcing, but by giving permission. And finally, black seed oil. Ancient healers once called it the remedy for everything but death, and for good reason. Unlike rosemary or ginger, its effects are quiet, steady. Black seed oil reduces inflammation, protects fragile vessels, and begins repairing tissue from the inside out. The men who use it often notice changes not in hours, but in days, a morning stiffness returning, sensation where there was dullness, skin that feels healthier and more alive. It's the craftsman of the formula, rebuilding what years tried to break down. When these 4 oils are blended together in the right way, they form a complete system. One opens the door, one pulls the blood in, one calms the nervous system, and one repairs the foundation. And when applied directly, where the skin absorbs up to 60 times more effectively than the digestive tract, the results often appear in less than a week. This is why so many men come back to me with quiet amazement. Not because they've discovered magic, but because they finally gave their body what it had been missing all along: circulation, nourishment, connection. Now that you understand the power of these 4 oils, rosemary to open, ginger to draw in, lavender to calm, and black seed to heal, the real transformation comes from how you use them. Over the years, I've seen countless men clutching bottles of supplements, capsules, and pills, hoping for a miracle. They swallow them faithfully, but nothing changes. And when I ask where they expect the results, they always answer the same way: down there, of course. Then I ask a simple question: so why are you swallowing it? That moment of silence tells the story. Here's the truth no one explains. When you swallow a pill, it has to travel a long road. First into your stomach, broken down by acid, then into your intestines, filtered by your liver, diluted before it ever touches the blood vessels that matter most. By the time it reaches the area you're worried about, most of its strength is gone. But your skin, especially in the thin, sensitive regions tied to intimacy, works differently. It's designed to absorb, to take in compounds directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system. Studies show absorption can be up to 64 times more effective. That's why men who apply these oils correctly see results in days instead of months. But precision matters. The blend isn't just about mixing everything together in a hurry. Sensitive skin needs balance. Too much and you risk irritation. Too little and you lose effectiveness. That's why I teach what I call the 7-day oil marriage. You begin with a carrier base, organic coconut oil. This isn't just filler. Coconut oil nourishes skin, fights bacteria, and helps the other oils sink in. To that, you add 12 drops of rosemary essential oil, 6 of ginger for warmth and flow, 6 of lavender to calm the nerves, and 6 of black seed for deep healing. Stir gently with a wooden stick, never metal, and pour it into a dark amber jar. Let it rest for 24 hours before first use. That pause allows the oils to bind, to become more than separate ingredients. It makes them a team. I often tell my patients, think of it like a marriage. Each oil brings its own strength, but when combined with patience and care, they amplify one another. The rosemary opens vessels, the ginger brings heat, the lavender removes tension, and the black seed repairs quietly underneath. Together, they create something stronger than any could do alone. Now comes the daily routine. This is where men either succeed or give up too soon. And I promise, if you follow this with patience, even for just 1 week, you'll see changes you never thought possible. The ritual begins after a warm shower, when your pores are open and your skin is clean. Scoop out a dime-sized amount of the blend, warm it between your palms, and massage gently into the area for 2 to 3 minutes using slow circular motions. This isn't just applying oil, it's a way of telling your body through touch and warmth, I still remember you. Do this once in the morning, once before bed. Morning gives you energy and circulation throughout the day. Night allows healing during your body's deepest repair cycle. In the first 1 or 2 days, many men feel warmth, tingling, a sudden spark of sensitivity. By day 3 or 4, changes become undeniable, firmer response, quicker reaction, more confidence. By day 7, it's like someone flipped a switch that you thought was permanently off. This ritual isn't just about performance. It's about reclaiming your relationship with your own body, reminding you that healing is still possible. I've had men tell me that beyond the physical results, they feel calmer, lighter, even happier. That's because intimacy isn't only physical, it's emotional, hormonal, neurological. When blood flows, when nerves awaken, when stress eases, your entire system responds. And the ripple effect is profound. David, a 70-year-old retired teacher, once came to me embarrassed, convinced his intimacy was gone forever. Within a week of following this routine, he called me laughing. "Doctor, I woke up this morning, and for the first time in years, I felt like myself again." Another man, Harold, in his late 60s, told me his wife noticed the difference before he did, not just physically, but in his mood, his energy, the way he carried himself. That's the real power of this ritual. It doesn't just restore function, it restores confidence, connection, even joy. And yet, as powerful as this 7-day transformation can be, the question remains, what happens if you keep going? Does the effect fade or does it grow? The answer is one of the most hopeful truths I've ever seen in practice. By now, you've seen how the blend of rosemary, ginger, lavender, and black seed oil can spark dramatic changes in as little as a week. But here's the question every man asks once he feels that first shift. What happens if I keep going? Does the effect plateau, or can it truly continue to improve? The truth is, this ritual doesn't just restore, it builds. With time, your tissues adapt, your vessels grow healthier, and your nervous system relearns what it once knew. Think of it like exercising a muscle you haven't used in years. At first, it feels stiff, unresponsive. Then, with steady practice, strength returns, coordination sharpens, and before long, the muscle feels alive again. The same is true here. Your intimate tissues are living, responsive, and capable of renewal, no matter your age. I've watched men in their 70s, even 80s, discover not just physical improvement, but a complete shift in how they live their lives. George, a 74-year-old veteran, once told me he thought his days of closeness were over. After 6 weeks of faithfully using the blend, he noticed something deeper. Not only had sensation returned, but he felt steadier on his feet, lighter in his mood, and more engaged with his wife than he had been in years. "Doctor," he said, "I didn't just get back my manhood. I got back myself." That's what long-term use does. It reminds your body how to stay alive, not just how to wake up once. Why does this happen? Because each oil addresses a different layer of decline. Rosemary keeps vessels open, ginger maintains blood flow, lavender quiets the stress system, and black seed quietly rebuilds. With every application, those layers reinforce one another. The vessel walls become more elastic, nerves relearn sensitivity, the brain receives signals it hasn't heard in decades, and with each week, the gains don't just hold, they deepen. But here's something even more fascinating. This daily ritual also shifts the way you feel emotionally. Men often come to me expecting only physical results, but what surprises them most is the mental clarity, the calmer nights, the confidence that quietly returns. That's because when circulation improves and hormones balance, your brain changes too. Endorphins flow, cortisol drops, sleep deepens, and the quiet cloud of fatigue that so many men mistake for just getting old begins to lift. I want you to think about the ripple effect. Better blood flow doesn't just affect the bedroom. It strengthens your prostate by keeping fluid moving, reducing congestion and inflammation. It helps your cardiovascular system, lowering strain on your heart. It even improves balance and mobility because circulation supports the muscles in your legs and hips. Men tell me their morning walks feel easier, their steps lighter, their energy higher, all from a few minutes of care each day. But beyond health, there is something harder to measure, and yet perhaps more important. It's the look in a man's eyes when he realizes he isn't finished. I've seen it in Walter, 69, who told me after a month of use, he finally had the courage to reach for his wife's hand again without fear of disappointment. I've seen it in James, 72, who thought intimacy was behind him until his body reminded him otherwise. These aren't just clinical outcomes. They are moments of human reconnection, moments that remind us that vitality doesn't vanish with age, it waits. And this is why I insist that men see this not as a one-week experiment, but as the beginning of a new relationship with their bodies. Because once you taste that spark of renewal, you'll understand that aging doesn't have to mean shrinking, fading, or surrendering. It can mean adapting, strengthening, and rediscovering. This blend isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the man you are now and giving your body the chance to respond the way it still can. So, what comes next? In the final part, I'll show you how to integrate this ritual into your life for lasting transformation, not just for 7 days, not just for 1 month, but as a foundation for the years ahead. Because this is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new one. If you've stayed with me this far, it tells me something important: you haven't given up. You're still searching, still hoping, still believing that your body holds more than what age has taken. And I want you to know, you're right. What you've discovered isn't a quick trick or a gimmick. It's a daily act of care that speaks directly to your biology, your nervous system, your hormones, your sense of self. And when you give your body what it truly needs, it answers. We've walked through 4 ancient oils: rosemary to open the vessels, ginger to warm and draw blood in, lavender to calm the nervous system, and black seed to heal and rebuild. We've seen why topical application works faster and deeper than pills. We've built the 7-day blend and the daily routine that reawakens what you thought was gone. But what matters most now is how you carry this forward, not for a week, not for a month, but as a quiet rhythm of your life. Think of this ritual as more than an oil blend. It's a conversation with your body. Each time you apply it, you're saying, I still care, I still choose life, I still want to feel. And your body hears you. It responds with warmth, firmness, energy, and confidence. Slowly at first, then steadily, until one day you realize you're not living in the shadow of decline anymore. You're standing in your own strength again. I've seen men carry this practice for months, even years, and the results don't fade. They grow. Blood flow improves not just below the belt, but through the whole body. Sleep deepens, mood brightens, strength returns in subtle but undeniable ways. And most importantly, the fear that so many men carry, the fear of being finished, begins to dissolve. What replaces it is hope, confidence, and connection. But let me be clear, this isn't just about intimacy. It's about identity. It's about reclaiming the man who still wants to walk tall, to laugh fully, to love deeply. I've heard it from Alan, 67, who told me after months of this ritual, he no longer felt invisible. From Frank, 71, who said his mornings finally felt alive again. From Harold, who thought he was too old until his wife whispered one night, I see you again. These aren't miracles. They're the natural result of giving your body the tools it's been asking for. So don't treat this as the end of a video. Treat it as the beginning of a chapter only you can write. Begin tonight. Mix the blend. Take those few quiet minutes for yourself and let your body show you what it still remembers. Because once you feel that first spark, the tingling warmth, the return of sensitivity, the surge of confidence, you'll understand something powerful. You are not done, not even close. And if this message has touched something in you, I invite you to take one more step. Share your thoughts below. Tell me if this gave you hope. Tell me if you're ready to begin. Because your story might be the exact encouragement another man needs. And if this helped you, give it a like, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend or brother who deserves to know he's not finished either. Your body hasn't forgotten. It's still listening. And when you honor it with blood flow, nourishment, and care, it will answer in ways that may surprise even you. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. And I'm honored to walk this path with you.